It's that time again. It's Cricbuzz Chatter time. End of day 4 in Kanpur and India after a slow start this morning. New Zealand looked like they were on top. India are on top at the end of the day. It ebbed and flowed throughout the day. This is the situation as we sit with 1 day to go in this first test match. India bowled out for 345. You'll remember that. New Zealand all out for 296. India in trouble early, but they rallied. Tail wagged completely, 234 for 7 they declared. And New Zealand have lost one late on day 4, that of Will Young. Plenty to talk about on Cricbuzz Chatter today. I am in Kanpur. I've been enjoying the test match. It's up, it's down, you know. It's the ebb and flow of test match cricket. And Dinesh Karthik is with us again. DK, today, gosh, it look doom and gloom for India at lunchtime or around about lunchtime, 55 for 5, 51 for 5. And then they fought back. That tail just continues to wag of late.
Yes, for a start, I think, Ashwin will be very disappointed you call it the tail. You're supposed to call them lower order batters.
Lower orders, yeah.
But, all credit to the way Ashwin and Shreyas Iyer batted. I think they batted with intent, they batted with purpose, and it's just beautiful to watch the sort of game plan that especially Ashwin brought to the table at that stage, with backs against the wall, going out there, playing his shots, looked really good in his inning. That is a very, very critical inning because most of the top order was out, and generally the man in crisis, Jadeja, had gotten out as well. It's great to see Ashwin show that intent. Shreyas Iyer took his time, again stamped his authority and showed why he's been such a good domestic batter over a period of time. And now it's time to show the international world as well how good he is with the bat. Wriddhiman Saha, I don't think I can be any happier for him because I think he needed this knock personally as well. And the fact that he's able to pull the team out of the dumps and a brilliant partnership with Akshar Patel, who showed that he could obviously, bat pretty well and bat well under tough conditions. Not only can he bowl, he's got something with the bat as well. Overall, brilliant attempt there.
Wriddhiman Saha, to me, he's just, I called him a street fighter. I hope that's not too derogatory to him on the, on the commentary today. He just, to me, he is that sort of guy when the conditions are really, really tough. He is that fighter. He's the bloke that just comes in. He does the job for India when they're down, when they need him. And that 61 he scored today is just superb. He fought through it. New Zealand could have had him. They certainly could have had him early on in his innings. A little chance at mid-wicket dropped by Henry Nicholls. So that was an opportunity for New Zealand. But those 61 runs, very valuable for Saha. First 50-plus score in 4 years. And man for a crisis, is it too cliche, DK? A man for a crisis in Saha?
Look, I think he's been an experienced player. I wouldn't call him man for a crisis because obviously I'm sure India has been in crisis at various points of time and this is his first 50. So he's been man for crisis for Bengal, for his state. He's done really well. Solid wicket keeper. But what I like about him is the fact that, he was again having his back against the wall in this test match. I think this could have easily been one of his last test innings because there would have been a lot of pressure to bring in Shrikar Bharat for the next test. But again, I was just happy to see Wriddhiman Saha bat because he's a solid batter. He's really good. He's got a bit of dogfight in him. He fought his way through, stiff neck, changed his stance up, batted slightly differently to what he's used to, but delivered. And he's a solid batsman. It is good to see somebody with old legs coming and pushing people and showing how it can be done. I'm really, really happy for Team India as well because Wriddhiman Saha has been traveling for some time, not found an opportunity, played the one-odd test here and there. And then Rishabh Pant obviously has come and blown the world over. But Wriddhiman Saha, I think it's good to see him do well for India.
Yeah, Cam Williamson, I sort of felt a little bit, he probably missed a trick just after lunch for mine. That opportunity for Saha, yes, it came off the spinner, but I just think that Southee and Jameson could have bowled a spell together after lunch. I was watching along thinking, how does he get into Wriddhiman Saha here? You looked at that first innings and Saha was dismissed by beauty from Tim Southee going wide of the crease. He worked him over quite nicely. I just wonder whether he missed a trick slightly straight after lunch to get the two seamers who'd been New Zealand's best bowlers throughout the test match into the attack. And maybe that was a small opportunity, a small window of opportunity, DK.
I would like to differ on that. And I say that only because when you play just two medium pacers, it's hard to keep rotating them consistently, keep bowling them over and over again. When Southee got Saha the last time around, the ball was much newer. There was a little swing in the air. Whereas when he had come back, when Saha was batting, there wasn't too much swing. If at all, there was probably a bit of reverse swing. It's hard to get a batsman nicking off with reverse swing. You get more LBWs and bowl. I don't think you can fault Kane Williamson too much, only because even after everything that's happened, both the bowlers have bowled 38 overs. And that goes to show they've still bowled a lot of overs. It's hard to keep expecting them. What would be disappointing from New Zealand to a certain point is the fact that the spinners haven't been able to provide breakthroughs on this wicket. India largely depend on the spinners. 9 of the 10 wickets that fell were from spinners. Whereas for New Zealand, it's the exact opposite. 9 of the 10 fell for fast bowlers, and it looks the same case here as well. 6 out of the 7 going to the fast bowlers. So it's two different case studies, two different methods, but you can see what is each team's strength in many ways. Spin for India and medium pace for New Zealand. But at the end of the day, I think Kane Williamson tried and rotated as much as he can. But being a fast bowler yourself, you know how hard it is to keep coming back spell after spell.
Yeah, I do, and it was just one of those situations where I just wondered. I wasn't sure whether he could have gone back to back with the seamers. It brings you to a good point, actually. What you just brought up there. It's maybe sometimes teams that come to India just pick spinners for the sake of picking spinners instead of picking their best bowlers. New Zealand's strength has been their quick bowling, and we've talked a few times on Cricbuzz Chatter about maybe Neil Wagner, an opportunity to get Neil Wagner into the side. And to me, that's just one of those situations where we come along to India as a New Zealand side and we think, oh, we've got to play 3 spinners. We think it's going to turn. And it's not always the case. You just sometimes have to pick your best bowlers. I agree that Ajaz Patel is New Zealand's best spinner, should absolutely have been in the side. If they'd gone with Wagner, it possibly just weakened the batting lineup a touch. And that might have been what frightened New Zealand off doing it and going with Ravindra, who can bat and offer you a little bit of a left arm spin as well. And I don't think they could have gone with 2 left armers and left Will Somerville out. Or even though he's gone wicketless after 40 overs, I think he's bowled the most overs since Shane Warne to go wicketless in a Test match in India. So a tough one for him. But moving on to the wicket loss for New Zealand as well. Look, there was 2 awful things there. A pretty awful decision for a start, and a pretty awful decision not to review it from Will Young as well. What was he thinking?
It's very interesting that when a batter who's asking the help of a non-striker and still if they're not sure whether to take it or not, you can't fault the umpire then. That means, when he's seeing it, at full time, he probably feels it's out. The only thing is, Virendra Sharma is an Indian umpire. He would have umpired for thousands of overs of spin. He should have known probably the ball pitching and deviating so much could have missed the stumps. That's the only thing going. I can understand Indian umpire maybe missing a fast bowling dismissal, but for a spinner, they are brought up on these wickets just like how our Indian batters are brought up on spin. He also has, I'm sure, umpired for a lot of overs under his belt for spin bowling. So could have expected something different, but the only thing that goes for him is the fact that the batsmen were confused. Even the batter thought probably he was out, which goes to show that you can't fault the fault umpire too much. But having said that, what do you think about Ashwin, the batter, Dooley? I will give you my opinion, but when you saw him bat today, what did you like? What did you like about the fact that what he brought to the table?
Yeah, I love the fact that he was aggressive, and I said this during the commentary today. He showed intent, and to me, that's exactly what was required at the time. New Zealand were on top; they were well and truly on top, and so he showed intent. To me, that first scoring shot down the ground off Tim Southee, the 4, and he was at the bowler. When I say at the bowler, his head, his presence. He's quite a big lad, and his presence was there, and it was there to be felt, and that immediately just put a little bit of pressure back on New Zealand. So I love the fact that he's probably in the last 6, 8, 10 months, he's been more of Ashwin the batsman as well as Ashwin the bowler, and it brings me to putting you on the hot spot. I want to ask you, DK, Kapil Dev, widely considered India's greatest ever all-rounder. Is Ravi Ashwin now in that same conversation as one of India's greatest ever all-rounders?
It's a lovely question. You have to put him there with the amount of man of the series that he's won, and with all the accolades he's got. Obviously, he's been phenomenal. I mean, getting 417 wickets in 80 Test matches is an unbelievable record to have. And the fact that he's contributed and scored 500s, much more than a lot of the batters who would play for a longer period of time in Test matches. There people have played 30, 35 tests and still not managed 500. So, credit to him. To be very honest, I haven't seen Kapil Dev play so much. I've seen him only, bits and pieces here and there when I was growing up, but I haven't, seen from the start of his career to how it was at the end. But I've seen a lot of Kapil Dev bowling. When it comes to batting, I've seen here and there. It's not been a lot. But what I can say is I've seen Ashwin bat in domestic cricket. Now, when you said, is he the crisis man? He was. We come from the same state, Tamil Nadu, and he was the crisis man. He's got a lot of runs for us when it mattered most. And he was one of those players who had good hands. He always used to go at the ball, play positive cricket throughout. He only has positive things to do on a cricket field. When it comes to batting, he is always looking to score runs, which has been one of his strengths, so to say. Even today, the attitude, the exemplary sort of intent that he came in with, even at 51 for 5, was great to watch. He put the accelerator for the Indian team and put pressure on the New Zealand bowlers. And having seen Kapil Dev, the little bit that he's batted, he was a phenomenal batter as well. He could hit sixes at will. I remember one game against Eddie Hemmings, I think. They needed 24 runs, him hitting 4 sixes on the trot in the over, in not taking the following on. So, obviously, I don't think I'm in a place to judge both of them, but must admit that they should be spoken in the same breath when it comes to Indian cricket, because both of them have been match winners, have been exemplary, and have been definitely the two best all-rounders to come out of this soil for a long, long time.
Yeah, absolutely fantastic. I love the fact that he's continuing to evolve. He always wants to get better. And that's what when I look at Ravichandran and Ashwin, he just wants to get better. He wants to win games, but he wants to find a way to do it. Developing different deliveries. I know some might think in T20 cricket or in 50-over cricket, he might try it too often, but he's got all these different skills that he's just developing over time. Develop that carom ball. He sort of can bowl the leg spinner. He can go wide of the crease. He can stay in tight. I just love the fact that he wants to get better, and he's now rediscovering some of that real batting talent that we always know he's had. Just had a slight little lean trot, which everybody goes through. And to me, he is back bigger and better. And I love watching him bowl. I love his passion for the game. I love talking cricket with him. And I just love watching him.
Now, Dooley, the most important question. Fast forward time now. How do you think the day is going to pan out tomorrow, Dooley? Do you think it's going to be 9 wickets to India, or New Zealand going to get the 280 runs required?
Personally, I think the runs are out of the question. I think the surface has been too hard to score runs quickly on. And so I think that 280 runs is out of the question. It's too far. It's a bridge too far from a New Zealand point of view. So they're all about time at the crease and batting out the overs and denying India the win. How do they do it? That's the question. Who is it? Who's going to be the person to do it? Tom Latham at the crease, absolutely. We've seen what happens with Tom Latham. We've seen how well he played in the first innings. To me, another left-hander that is going to have the big part to play is Henry Nicholls. He is a good player of spin. I think he'll learn from the first innings. He'll learn that sweeping is not entirely the option on this pitch because the ball does keep low. You have to stay really low if you are going to sweep, and Tom Latham proved that in the first innings. And Ross Taylor, at times, if he can get a start, he can bat for long, long periods of time and deny the opposition. I've left Kane Williamson out purely and simply because we know about Kane Williamson, but the other guys are going to be keys. If New Zealand can get through to lunch 2 down, just the loss of perhaps the night watchman, get through that middle session with another 2, maybe, we're in for a really cracking last session tomorrow. But look, India are favourites, well and truly on top in the game. Runs are out of the question. They can set attacking fields, and they can really put pressure on this New Zealand batting attack. So it's probably about an 80-20 in favour of India and the draw at the moment, I think. And New Zealand, I don't even give them a percentage chance of winning the test match, but I do give them 20% of saving it if they bat really, really well.
Interesting. High hopes that you just want the 1 wicket of Somerville to fall in a session that's going to last 32 overs.
He can bat, Will Somerville. He can deny. He averages something like 19 overs, I think. He averages 19 overs per innings in his test match career so far with the bat. He can get that big front foot forward, take a big stride, and just dunny door it all day. Hopefully he does that in the morning. It'll be good to watch. Absolutely. Looking forward to tomorrow. I mean, the key, just quickly, DK, who's the key for India tomorrow? Is it Aksar again?
Yes, Aksar will play a big role, but generally 4th innings, the guy who has the best record and by a distance in the world of cricket is R. Ashwin. And again, it'll come back to him. He's the one who's got the first wicket. If he gets going, he has the potential to wrap it up in 40-50 overs itself. And that's the key. Every time Ashwin picks up a wicket, he gets on a roll and picks up 2-3. And that's been the beauty of his bowling over a period of time. And I expect nothing different. He gets on a roll. He has the potential to get big wickets. That's what he always goes for, the big fish. Kane Williamson and Ross Taylor and the Lathams. So it's going to be a very interesting day, but I will have my money on India as well. I think India well and truly in the driver's seat. Credit to all the batters to fighting them out. The lower order batting contributor is good to watch them somehow get India out of jail. And now they put them in a very, very good position. In fact, a winning position. It's going to be a fabulous day tomorrow, Dooley. Have fun watching it from up close.
I will, mate. And Ashwin, I'm so sorry. I will never call you a tail ender again. I apologise. You are a lower order batsman. My apologies, sir. Been great chatting to you, DK. Thanks very much for your time. We'll be back tomorrow with Cricbuzz Chatter. Will India pick up the 9 wickets required? Will New Zealand be able to bat out 90 overs? Not sure we'll get 90 overs, courtesy of light. We'll be back tomorrow night. Cricbuzz Chatter to dissect everything from the first test match in Canberra.